Downward spiral. The staircase groaned under Matthew's weight, each step sinking ever so slightly as though something beneath it moved in reaction. The air grew colder, thicker. The further he went, the less sound seemed to carry. His breathing became silent, his footsteps muffled like cotton in his ears. The walls around the spiral were tight and pulsing. At irregular intervals, children's drawings were nailed to the wall with rusted pins. Crayon scrawls grew more twisted the deeper he went. Smiles turned jagged, stick figures bled red, and houses grew mouths instead of doors. After what felt like hours, days, the steps ended. He found himself in a circular chamber, barely lit by the flickering of a dying candle in a broken jar. At the center was a small bed. Elin lay on it, or what was left of her. She was older now, her face caught between child and teenager, as if time here couldn't decide what to make her. Her eyes were open but unblinking, and her mouth hung open in a silent cry. Pinned to her chest was a note. Matthew reached for it, hands trembling. It read, "You left me when I needed you most, so I stayed where you couldn't forget." The walls of the chamber began to tremble. He spun around. Standing in the doorway was the tall, featureless figure from the drawing. It had no face, just holes where eyes should be, and long arms that reached the floor, dragging unseen across the dirt. It spoke without a mouth. She is part of the house now, and now, so are you. The foundation. The thing stepped forward. With each movement, the chamber pulsed. Veins bulged from the walls like roots, twitching with silent agony. Matthew backed away, but there was no place to go. The stairs had vanished. Elin remained still, her eyes tracking the figure, not fearful, but almost expectant, as if she'd been waiting for this. The creature reached toward her. "No!" Matthew threw himself between them. "Take me, just leave her alone." The figure paused, then lowered its hand. The silence pressed against Matthew's skull until he felt his thoughts bending inward. The walls began to whisper in hundreds of different voices. Elin's, his own, the voice of the woman from the car, all of them asking the same question. Why did you forget? The figure pressed one long finger against Matthew's forehead, and suddenly, he was Elin. He was in the house alone, night after night, waiting for someone to come back. He was at the window, drawing pictures to pass the time, humming the lullaby that echoed through the empty halls. He was listening to the pipes whisper her name over and over again. He was crying into her bear. Then he was back. The figure was gone. But Elin was sitting up, eyes locked with his. "You remember now?" she whispered. And then she smiled, a child's smile, innocent, forgiving. The candle snuffed out. Things beneath the walls. The candle was gone, but the house was awake. Matthew could feel it now, something pulsing beneath the floorboards, like a massive, slumbering creature just below the surface. The walls breathed softly in and out, as though exhaling memories not meant for light. He staggered backward from the bed. Elin was still there, still watching. She said nothing. Instead, the wallpaper peeled from the walls in slow, deliberate strips, revealing hundreds of eyes, some human, others not, glaring outward from within the wood. The voice came again, not from Elin, not from the featureless creature, from the house itself. "You made this, brick by brick, memory by memory." He stumbled toward the doorway, and the floor beneath him flexed like skin. A gaping crack split open in the middle of the chamber, revealing an impossible drop. Down below, flickering in the darkness, was a nursery. He recognized it instantly. Elin's old room, before the crash. The nursery room. Matthew landed hard, on carpet. When he opened his eyes, he was standing in the center of the nursery, but it was no longer a memory. This place was real now, as solid as breath, as present as the panic in his chest. The mobile spun silently. The walls were freshly painted. The air smelled of milk, powder, and something rotting beneath. In the crib, nothing. No baby, no Elin, just a mirror, small, silver-framed, and cracked down the middle. As he approached it, his reflection changed. He saw himself as a father, holding Elin as a baby, rocking her, singing. But the reflection smiled differently. "You don't get to come back now," it whispered. Matthew punched the mirror. It shattered, glass slicing into his knuckles. But the image remained, still smiling from shards on the floor. From the corners of the room, dozens of hands began to emerge. Small ones, childlike, pale. They reached for him, clutching, grabbing, dragging him down. From above, Elin's voice called, "It's okay now, Matt. Let go." And for a moment, he wanted to. The weight of guilt, memory, and the unrelenting whispers pressing against his ribs, begging him to forget. But something deep inside snapped. He screamed, "No, I came back for her. I remember everything." The hands froze, the house rumbled. Then the floor gave way again, and he was lifted. The hushed house. He opened his eyes in the attic. Dust motes floated in the beam of a single moonlit window. The silence was complete. Not a breath, not a whisper. Elin stood before him, no longer a child, no longer trapped. "I waited for you," she said softly. "I know," he choked, eyes wet. "I'm sorry I forgot. I wanted to forget. I thought it would stop the pain." She nodded, not angry. "I became part of this place," she said, "because I waited too long." Matthew stepped closer. "Can we leave?" She looked toward the window. "You can." A beat. "And you?" She smiled, not with sorrow, not with joy, just truth. "I was never really here." And as the first light of dawn cracked through the boarded window, Elin began to dissolve, like smoke curling into morning air. Her outline shimmered until only her smile remained. The house trembled, sighed, and fell silent. Matthew walked out the front door. The sun rose behind him. The house at last hushed forever.